Roblox is the most popular online gaming platform in the world for primary school children. But as we show tonight, there are serious safety concerns about Irish children using the platform.
Children as young as 5 have access to sexualised roleplay, conversations about suicide and gambling games. Adults are able to freely chat and interact with young children, and Primetime witnessed older players trying to move younger users onto private messaging apps.
We know from cases in the courts in recent days that this brings with it dangers. Just yesterday, a 24-year-old man was given a 5-year sentence for harassing and threatening to leak images of a teenager he first contacted through Roblox.
Later on in the programme, we'll discuss how best to protect our children. But first, Kate MacDonald reports on the risks within Roblox.
Roblox is a sprawling online gaming universe made up of tens of millions of different games.
The games are all created by people who use the platform rather than Roblox itself. And people find communities on there, they play games, they talk to other people who are playing there.
It's marketed as an imagination playground.
I think this game in particular looks very innocent, and unfortunately the age profile is getting younger and younger.
But in recent years, the platform has been plagued with allegations that it's not doing enough to protect its youngest users.
Is Roblox an environment in which grooming and other forms of exploitation of young, vulnerable people goes on? Yes, absolutely. 100% it is.
Tonight, we go inside the platform to a world most parents never see. More than 150 million people play on Roblox every day, and a third of those are under 13. These include thousands of children all across Ireland, including in Gael School Colmcille in Coolock. First off, we met kids in 1st to 3rd class, typically aged 7 to 10.
So, first question. Do you play Roblox?
Yes.
Next up was 4th to 6th class, who were aged 10 to 12.
Do you play Roblox, or have you ever played Roblox?
It was interesting for me, the age cohort was much younger in terms of their engagement with the game than I anticipated. I would have assumed that 1st class was the youngest age, but we actually also asked at an assembly for our junior and senior infants whether or not anyone played Roblox, and many of those children were also familiar with the game.
I think that a lot of parents know that their kids want to play it. It looks very childlike, the graphics are very basic, and it seems really fun. So they just kind of switch off and say, okay, it's fine. We don't have to worry about it. And that's the vulnerability, and that's where the predators strike, because they know no one is really watching.
The concern isn't just that younger children are on Roblox, it's that they're playing and chatting with older teenagers and even adults. To understand what children experience on Roblox, we decided to see it for ourselves.
We set up 3 different accounts, a 5-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 13-year-old. There were no age verification checks. We didn't need a phone number or an email address to sign up. And at no point were we asked to add a parent account, even for the 5-year-old.
Once we were logged in, we left in place Roblox's default safety controls for each age. We didn't turn on any optional additional parental controls, nor were we prompted to. Over roughly 12 hours of play, we explored a range of different games across the 3 accounts, from cake baking to garden growing to themed role plays for movies like Wicked. Like many of the experiences we played, this dress-up game was labelled suitable for 5 years and up, with a mild maturity rating. Some of what we saw was frankly just a bit strange, but some of it raised concerns among the experts we spoke to. Roblox runs what it calls an in-game economy worth hundreds of millions of euro. Its currency is called Robux, and players can buy it directly in the game or through gift cards.
We also found gambling-style mechanics in games open to under 13s. Spin the wheel and loot boxes are extremely common, while in other games we found things like coin-pushing machines and blackjack.
Players are constantly being prompted to buy more and more Robux to move up a level or have a better chance at winning something. Roblox also offers a vast marketplace where users can buy all sorts of outfits and other accessories for their avatars.
Alongside countless completely harmless items, we found harnesses, BDSM-style outfits, and guns, all available to users of any age, as long as they have the Robux to pay for it. Inside the games, children are sometimes judged by what they haven't bought.
Some are mocked by other players for not being able to afford a good account. In other games, we found users begging other players for Robux.
It's very similar to the kind of pressure I think kids feel in real life to be wearing the latest trainers or the latest clothes, that if you're in Roblox and you're not wearing a certain item and you haven't paid for it, then you will be taunted or mocked because of that. Because children are so want Robux, they are therefore more vulnerable to the groomers who come along and offer them Robux in exchange for taking a picture or talking privately to them or something else.
Our 9-year-old avatar played in various games, including a public toilet simulator rated suitable for over 5s. Inside the game, players enter a cubicle and simulate sex. Our 9-year-old was also able to play shooting games and dating-style experiences. Roblox says it prohibits any content that implies sexual activity for young users, including dating requests, but we found examples across several games. Chiara Sanchez is a senior researcher at Revealing Reality, a research group in the UK who've carried out testing on Roblox and its safety features.
What we saw was shocking. We went on a popular social hangout space where you can voice chat with different people on there, and immediately we saw sexualized behavior, people looking to exchanging contact details, racial slurs, rape jokes, and also what sounded like adults interacting with children.
In almost all of the experiences we tried, children can chat to whoever happens to be playing the game at that moment, including adults.
In one high school roleplay, again available to users 5 years and up, avatars typically change into revealing outfits and flirt with each other. Within minutes of playing, our 13-year-old avatar was brought into a private toilet cubicle, while our 5-year-old avatar was picked up and brought into a classroom. While pinned against a wall, she was asked for her Instagram.
Adult registered accounts can enter into any spaces. And once you're in that space, it's really hard to figure out who is a child and who isn't.
Back at Gael School Colmcille, we asked pupils if they talked to other players who they didn't know outside of playing Roblox.
Do you talk to people you only know from playing Roblox?
Although chat is the main way players communicate, experts told us one of their biggest concerns is that Roblox can be a starting point for older users to make contact with younger users before trying to move on to less moderated messaging apps. And while parents can switch chat off, we saw interactions continue in other ways. In a roleplay hangout rated for over 5s, we saw a 9-year-old whose parents had turned off chat, still interacting with a 14-year-old using signs in the game. Despite those restrictions, the two were able to exchange usernames for a messaging app, something Roblox says it prohibits.
As for the being able to move off Roblox and exchanging details, we tested that amongst the avatars. And we tested that on multiple different experiences, and across all of them, we were able to move onto a different platform.
Mick Moran is a retired garda who also spent a decade at Interpol, specialising in child exploitation and trafficking. He's now the CEO of child abuse reporting service Hotline.ie.
One of the key elements in grooming, or one of the key elements in even sexual abuse, is exclusive access to the child. Before abuse can take place, there must be exclusive access. So by bouncing the child off Roblox out of a group that might be chatting in a game, bouncing them off to a different platform, then that is a huge red flag. Then once that exclusive chat starts to happen, then the groom can move on.
In a 13s plus experience, we saw female users simulate lap dances and wearing t-shirts with racial slurs. As there's no age verification while signing up, younger users could be entering these games. Our 13-year-old avatar also entered a therapy roleplay simulator. We saw a player discuss suicidal thoughts in this exchange. Again, something Roblox says it prohibits. I tried to sue. What do you mean by the word sue? Taking your life? Yes, all people will be happy without me. You will be experiencing so much suffering in hell because taking your own life is a sin. I want to really end this.
What we saw on Roblox is really only a glimpse of a platform with millions of games we couldn't possibly explore. Beyond the issues we saw are far more serious accounts from parents who allege their children were groomed or exploited on the platform.
Since the early 2010s, there's been issues raised about moderation, about safety of the players on the platform. People began noticing that older players were engaging with younger players on the platform, speaking inappropriately to them, inappropriate content. So what's emerged more recently is the idea that this is a platform that is being targeted by paedophiles to hunt and to groom young, very young children.
I think part of the challenge is that, unfortunately, there are predators online who are aware of how these games work and may also have an awareness that children in this younger age profile may not have had the educational input of cyber safety or the warnings from their parents in terms of using things such as chat functions with strangers online.
This morning, Florida's Attorney General is issuing criminal subpoenas against Roblox, the popular online gaming company, citing alleged abuse of children by online predators.
State Attorney General Liz Murrell is suing a popular online game she claims is endangering children.
This game is deceptive by design.
This mother and daughter taking on these major corporations after they allege sexploitation on these platforms.
Ethan Dallas should have turned 17 years old this past Sunday. Instead, he'll be forever 15. Now his family could make legal history in how gaming and social media platforms are held accountable.
More than a dozen families in the US are now taking legal action against Roblox, alleging their children were sexually abused, exploited, or exposed to inappropriate content while using the platform. Several US states have also launched high-profile legal cases, all alleging that Roblox has failed to adequately protect children.
The amount of lawsuits that have been filed so far is maybe a dozen or so, but speaking to the lawyers, they are speaking to hundreds, if not thousands of victims.
Are Irish kids being groomed on Roblox? Absolutely they are. That's one of the major problems with the internet and all these platforms, is that people have this kind of, oh, that's happening somewhere else attitude. And it is not. It is happening right here in this country.
Detective Superintendent Michael Mullen from An Garda Síochána's Cybercrime Bureau says that Gardaí are dealing with cases in Ireland across different gaming sites.
So if you think of the young girl of 9 years old, she is playing one of these games online, unsupervised, unsupported, and she's reached out to anybody on the game to ask for virtual currency, again, which I stress is not unusual. And of course, there are adult people unverified on the game who pounce on that request and offer to provide that currency for that young girl of 9 years old to conduct explicit sexual acts.
He says grooming is happening within gaming far more often than many people think.
We are seeing within our Bureau and the Garda National Protective Services Bureau and across the organisation that this type of crime exploitation and abuse of children is happening online at an alarming scale, and the gaming platform is a particular concern for ourselves. We've seen the other situation where a young person has engaged with a person on a gaming platform. They initially are forced to buy expensive items for the person who's making the demands, and then that progresses into the young person being asked to self-harm and being encouraged to take their own life. So we're seeing grooming, sexual exploitation and sexual abuse as a result of children being on gaming platforms and in some cases moving on to other platforms.
In response to this wave of legal cases, as well as an investigation from the Dutch government, last week Roblox announced a new safety feature. Any players using the chat function will now have to be age verified. This feature is set to roll out in Ireland in January. So will this solve the issues children are facing on the platform?
It's about time. Age gating, as they call it, is a great idea. It's a barrier. Will bad actors and properly motivated bad actors be able to get over that barrier? Yes, they will. Yes, they absolutely will. Is there more that Roblox could be doing? Absolutely. But let's see how this pans out.
I think it's a step in the right direction, but as long as adults and children are able to enter the same space, the same server, and be in that space together, I think risks still remain. And I don't necessarily think that this will fix everything and all the issues to do with interaction risks on Roblox.
One of the ways people who have a sexual interest in children use platforms like this is to gather intelligence about kids, to learn how the kids are talking, to learn each generation has a different language. That's an intelligence gathering exercise. It forms part of grooming. It forms part of engaging with the child to try and get them off the platform, right? So the chat might be one way, but that's the only direct way.
In a statement to Primetime, Roblox said protecting children is a top priority. It said its teams have investigated the examples sent by Primetime and removed or suspended content that did not meet their standards. It said the company has a robust set of community standards and that they limit chat for younger users. From early January, it said it will require facial age checks for all users in order to access chat features. These are designed to further limit communication between minors and adults and to help ensure younger users are speaking to those in their own or in similar age groups. With Christmas around the corner and new devices and maybe Robux vouchers on the way, what should parents do to keep their kids safe?
We can mitigate those risks through the support of parents, parents getting involved in their children's online activity, parents making sure that there's boundaries for children using online devices and gaming, that being they can only have their devices at a certain time of the day, and most importantly, those devices don't go to the bedroom with them. Making sure that parents give their children the confidence to come to them should something go wrong.
They're in the younger age cohort, from the infant classes up. Really, parents need to be having conversations about what may happen online or what would be appropriate and what wouldn't.
Engage with your child, engage with the parental controls, discuss why you're putting the parental controls in place, talk about the bad things that can happen to kids online, make sure your kids are equipped with the knowledge and the tools to mind themselves online.
And that report from Kate MacDonald. If you've been affected by anything in that report, you can find advice and help at rte.ie/helplines. Well, for more, we're joined now in studio by Malcolm Byrne, Chair of the Oireachtas Committee on Artificial Intelligence, and Alex Cooney, CEO of CyberSafe Kids. And you're both very welcome, and thank you for joining us. And Malcolm, as we can see there, even just from the classroom that Kate was in, hugely popular with Irish kids, Roblox is, and yet we see the harmful content that they're exposed to, the huge safety concerns around what they're exposed to as well online. And in the online safety code that was just published this year, Roblox is not included.
It's not. So I think the first message, because Kate's report is quite shocking, and it's not just with Roblox, this has to be a concern around quite a number of platforms. But behaviour that is unlawful or criminal in the real or offline world, it's also unlawful and criminal in the online world. So those who would seek to exploit children or young people in any location, they are guilty of a criminal offence. And in the same way that, if you take children into a park and you say to them, don't talk to a stranger, it's the same principles that need to be applied online. And what we need to look at is obviously in terms of on the education side, there needs to be a big focus on that. But yes, on the regulation side, we have quite a number of moves, and indeed yesterday, before the Oireachtas Media Committee, where Commissioner Newman, who is the regulator in this space when they were in before us, the Online Safety Commissioner, she's engaging closely with her Dutch colleague in Kate's report. They mentioned the investigation that the Dutch government are carrying out, and that was as a result of a satanic group basically trying to groom children in the Netherlands.
OK, so there's work underway. Alex, I know that Cyber Safe Kids had identified the fact that Roblox is not in the online safety code as a significant gap in the new code. Do you understand why it wasn't included?
I understand why it wasn't included. It's, well, for one thing, it's not described as a video sharing platform, but also it's not based in the state. So they can't regulate entities based in the state, and the online safety code won't apply to them. It's also concerning that at the European level, whilst it will be covered by the Digital Services Act, it's not meeting the size threshold. So it's below 45 million monthly subscribers. It's about 20 or 25 million. Our concern that it is huge is that it's hugely popular with children. So it is the most popular online environment for children under the age of 13. 63% of the 7,500 children that we surveyed under 13 were playing Roblox. So we definitely need to ensure that it is subject to very stringent regulations and checks, because it is a place that children are going. And as your report has very comprehensively shown, it is a place where they're encountering harm.
OK, so let me put that back to yourself, Malcolm. So it's not covered by the Digital Safety Act or by the Online Safety Code. How is that possible that this has fallen through the cracks between two stools?
So when, over the last number of years, in terms of regulating within this space, which wasn't regulated, so the first thing that we did as a state was we introduced the Online Safety and Media Regulation Act. As part of that, we set up the Office of the Online Safety Commissioner. And the Online Safety Commissioner is not just responsible for implementing the Act, it's also the Digital Services Act at European level. And this is important because at European level,
but the Digital Services Act doesn't cover it, and the Online Safety Code doesn't cover it. So I suppose my question to you is, who or what is going to cover it to keep children safe?
So for the first time, we actually have online safety codes. From the start, it was always about applying them to some of the larger platforms. So when we're talking about TikTok or Snapchat or some of the meta platforms, but certainly, and this is part of the engagement we've had, is how can we also include those smaller platforms? Because as I said, it's not just Roblox. It's critical that in terms of that children are kept safe within
so there's a conversation. Is that where we're at? There's a conversation about how to include it.
There is a big discussion. There's a discussion as well around the whole question of age verification. You might be familiar, for instance, in Australia, they've now decided that having social media accounts is being banned for under 16s. Denmark is looking at doing it.
I know, but we're talking right now about Roblox. We've just watched, as you said, a very shocking report from Kate MacDonald showing the real safety concerns that our children are being exposed to, and it's not covered by any regulation. And all we're hearing about is conversations, discussions.
It's not. I mean, there's two sides to this. One, and there's some great work that's being done by Alex and Cyber Safe Kids in terms of on the education side. That is critical. For us on the regulatory side, bear in mind that any offence, as I said, offline, same online.
Sure, we know that. We know that. That's not what I'm asking about.
I appreciate that, but you talk about, for instance, the grooming case this week, the sharing of intimate images. That was made a criminal offence as a result of Coco's law. Those laws apply.
All right. I just want to go back to Alex very finally. And finally, Alex, what do you think of what Malcolm is saying and what needs to be done in your view?
Well, look, I'm encouraged that Malcolm is exploring this through his committee. So they are prioritising this, and I know that they are looking at regulation and where the gaps are. The reality is, any place that children are gathering in any kind of numbers in digital environments, we need to make sure that they are subject to stringent regulation, stringent risk assessments, not ones that they can do themselves, but ones that are done by independent experts. So I think we do need to see a lot change. I think it's early days in relation to regulation. We can already see gaps. We've obviously raised these with Commissioner Mann ourselves, these gaps, and we have the opportunity to make sure that we can put proper regulation in place and fill those gaps.
All right, Alex.
It's also important sir, that we involve young people and children themselves in this process. Within Commissioner Mann, for instance, there is a youth advisory panel. They've been very clear in terms of their views. They're not in favour of a ban, but I think in dealing with any of this, it is critical that we hear the voices of young people too.
Thank you.